Okay, hey, chapter 7, work, work, work. My actual first paying job was cleaning house for my neighbor, Pauline Davis. I was about 11 years old at the time. Pauline and her husband, Graydon, lived about half a mile down the road from us. They had one adult daughter, Marie. We moved to the country after I turned 8 and lived in a pretty rural area. Pauline and Graydon became good friends with Mom and Dad. We got together with them quite a bit, especially during the summer. We'd go across from their house to swim in the river while the adults prepared a great picnic dinner for both families. My siblings and I often went to Graydon's barn to watch the milking and talk to his farmhand, Jay Green, a, a kid my age. During haying season, everyone pitched in to help Graydon buck the bales in the field. I was in those fields It was in those fields that I learned I did not like tea at all. We were hot and sweaty when Mom brought a huge container of iced tea out to us. Everyone was so grateful and guzzled the tea down. I took a taste and couldn't believe what I was drinking. I decided that it was better to be thirsty than to drink something like that. Graydon loaned us 4 acres behind our house to pasture our horses. Of course, with that relationship, when Pauline needed a house cleaner, I was perfect for the job. They lived in a nicely remodeled farmhouse that needed dusting, vacuuming, and beds changed every week. I was paid a little bit, but don't remember how much I made. It wasn't hard work, but I didn't particularly like it. I always ate lunch with Graydon and Pauline, and oh, I remember the horrible glass of fresh cow's milk they gave me to drink. I couldn't possibly drink it, although I tried again and again. It smelled like cow manure every time I put the glass to my mouth. Ugh, it was awful. They soon decided not to offer me a glass of milk. I remember doing that at Grandma and Grandpa Jensen's house. Ugh. Even though I liked having a little bit of money, it wasn't long before I just plain didn't want to go there anymore. Graydon always smelled like cows. Of course he did. He was a dairy farmer. I wasn't particularly fond of the smell, so I didn't like changing his bed and vacuuming around his chair. On Saturday, I told Mom I didn't want to clean there anymore, and she conveniently helped me get out of it. Now I think she should have told me to tough it out, but Mom was like that, always trying to make life a little easier for me. Nope, I should have toughed it out. My next job was a cashier in a high school cafeteria. I was a senior at the time, and working there gave me a free lunch. I could even choose the teacher's lunch that was so much tastier than the student lunch. One student teacher from college even asked me to go out with him to get a beer. There I was, underage, 17, and a student. I guess he didn't know the rules. I didn't go. Maybe if he had asked me to get a soda or a shake, I would have considered it. Or a Texas hot. Yum, yum. That was the best hot dog on earth. And then here's a picture of Wellsville High School. Enter to learn, go forth to serve. Sounds familiar to any BYU alum? That was on the outside of my high school. During the Christmas season, my senior year, I worked at J.J. Newberry's, a department store. I was put in the shoe department, and very few people bought shoes from J.J. Newberry's. I wandered around every day and straightened shoes again and again and again until my eyes were starting to cross. I finally started dusting each shoe inside and out for something to do. Once in a while, I was asked to wrap a Christmas present. How would you like to have a 17-year-old wrapping your presents at a store? I can only imagine what people thought as they watched me struggling through that. And this is Main Street, Wellsville, New York. Rad. After high school, I worked at the Elmhurst Dairy. I sold ice cream cones, packed ice cream to sell, and cleaned the store. It was an okay job, and those I worked with were very nice older people. My dad helped me get a job where he worked at the air preheater company. Dad was pretty high up in management, and he told me the first day of my new job to remember who I was and who my father was. I wasn't much one to slouch off at the job, so he really didn't need to worry. I worked in the area where the draftsmen were, in the copy center, making lots of copies for them. Draftsmen like that with their large drawing boards are definitely a thing of the past. With the computer programs we have today, I wouldn't be needed today to make copies or anything. And draftsman is probably politically incorrect. They should be draftspersons. I worked at air preheater until I went to Rick's College in the fall of 1967. My first year at Rick's, I didn't work. Mom and Dad paid for everything. But the second year, I was hired as a receptionist at the main desk in the man-wearing center, the student center. I met so many people working there and had so much fun. I was surrounded by activities that were going on all the time. What a good job. And that's the man-wearing center. Also maybe not politically correct. I'm just kidding, man-wearing. Between my first and second year at Rick's, my parents moved to Saginaw, Michigan. Our family had long-time roots in the Wellsville area, all the way back to the early 1800s. So leaving there was hard. Family was still in Wellsville, but not too many friends. It's interesting how friends dropped off when they came back from college drinking and partying. I had joined the church. I didn't have a lot in common with my friends anymore because I didn't want to meet up with them at the local bar. And this is Mom graduating from Rick's College, my only picture. You can barely see her by the side. When I graduated from Rick's College, I moved home, but home was now Saginaw. Even though I had received acceptance at BYU, I didn't want to go because I felt I was wasting my parents' money. I didn't want to continue an elementary education, and I didn't know what I wanted to study. Without knowing what to study, I thought it would be better to stay home and work. Dad helped me get a job down the street from where he worked at the Wix Corporation. Wix Corporation. Oh my, those office jobs about put me to sleep. I was a robot walking around, cutting large papers, checking numbers that I didn't even understand, and scanning numbers into some kind of machine. After a summer of that, I left for Salt Lake City and was employed by the church. There, I was editing Sunday school manuals, typing them, retyping them, and completely enjoying the atmosphere and the people in the Sunday school department. Again, that was a different time. Today, that work is done on computers, but I typed up a lesson. Another girl marked it for mistakes as I read it to her, and then I retyped, and not only a computer, but not onto a computer, but using a typewriter and paper. Then the girl would read to me what had been typed. I'd correct it, and she would retype her lesson. We took forever getting the manuals put together. From there, I worked as a receptionist for a chiropractor, DJ McManus, and then for Benjamin Franklin's Five and Dime, a small department store. I washed dishes for Benjamin Franklin's, and I mopped the cafe floors at the end of my shift. My goodness, what a career I had. And here's a picture of Ben Franklin's Five and Dime in Butte, Montana. That's really cool. About that illustrious job, I became a babysitter for 35 cents an hour. I babysat for many, make sure, did I skip something? Oh. About that illustrious job, after that illustrious job, I became a babysitter for 35 cents an hour. I babysat for many years until I went to work for my sweetheart, Brad, helping him with all his typing. We saved enough money from not having to pay anyone to do his typing that we just stayed in that situation from then until now. I'm still his typist, but fortunately, I'm able to help him in a few other ways with his business. Without a college education, it's pretty difficult to do much employment-wise. I can't emphasize enough the importance of getting a good education. Oh yes, there are always those who make it without a degree, but they are few and far between. To properly prepare for life down the road, I encourage every one of my grandchildren to get an education. Don't waste those years. It's your duty to your family, and it's a spiritual duty to become the best you can. That's it. We'll see ya. Bye.